Right, okay, then you're ready.
We don't have anybody, we've not got anybody coming in.
We have we've got no public, in the lines.
So we will start off with, you start.
Yes, so I've got Councillor Jane Bay, who is away on holiday, on a family holiday, so she presents her apologies.
Okay, do we have any declarations of interest? No. Section 3, minutes of the meeting held on the production. Please, anybody, any issues? No. Chairman's report on urgent meetings.
No, got neither of those.
Public questions in accordance with standing orders 22 and 23.
No, none have been received, Chair.
Letters of objection.
No, none have been received since the agenda issue.
So we're looking at applications registered weekend in 1st of the 12th, 2023 and the 8th of the 12th, 2023. And we'll start off with 5, 2023, 103 Factory Lane, please.
Okay, I'll just share with you the. Okay, so 103 Crabtree Lane, property, I forgot to point out the little small things, but hotel renovating, yeah, we're running too long tonight. Property is a detached dwelling with detached properties either side. Proposal is to carry out a series of extensions at ground and first floor level across the property. At the front, it is proposed to extend the lounge by 1 metre forwards and to introduce a first floor extension above the existing sloped roof ground floor element to extend the bedroom. At the rear, it is proposed to add 2 small ground floor extensions to extend the dining and family rooms. And then the front building line of number 103 Crabtree Lane sits marginally further forward than that of number 105. However, it does not appear that the proposed first floor extension to the front will cause undue loss of amenity to number 105. There is no increase in bedrooms. Some soft landscaping is being removed in the front garden to facilitate the proposal. Ample parking provision on the frontage, not conservation area. If I just move on, you can see in this picture here where they're looking to build over this sloped roof at first floor level, just to extend the first floor bedroom. And then here you can see the extent of the proposals that what they're wanting to do. So the single story to the rear and a little small one to the side on the left. And also another small one at the front that's just a single story. And then the 2-story extension just above the sloping ground floor element. And I said, consider no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to number 105 Crabtree Lane, policy ESD2 of the neighbourhood plan and 72 of the district plan refers. So yeah, you can see here that it's kind of sits marginally further.
And the other has been extended quite a lot more.
Yeah. So I think kind of in this one here, it was quite tricky. It was quite a lot of landscaping and stuff, but the property to the right, which is the one that potentially could be affected, actually falls pretty much in line. 2-story level is what they're proposing to do.
What is that? Is that the current?
So that's the current, yeah. So you can see sort of at the front, the slightly stepped back element is the is that sloped roof bit, just to depict that it is set back. So there we're looking to extend the bedroom upstairs.
Oh, right.
Nothing from number 105.
No objections for this one at all.
No, they don't really overlook, do they? It's quite treated.
I think they project further forward already.
Yeah.
So what they're looking to do at 103, I don't think it's
And 107, both of them substantially larger.
Yeah. Any concerns then?
Nope.
No. Are we all happy to?
Very happy.
Okay, that one. Okay, so 5, 2023, 2340 does not meet the criteria. So we're going to go to 5, 2023, 2107, please.
Okay, so this is 9A9B Roseby Avenue. Currently on the site is what presents a single detached property, but is actually a pair of infill masonettes which are out of character with the other properties in the street. The proposal looks to demolish the existing, replace with a single 5-bedroom detached property with accommodation in the roof space and designed to be in keeping with the neighbouring properties. The footprint of the new property covers a larger area, especially at ground floor level. However, the front building line is set back further than the existing, and the first floor footprint projects rearwards the same distance as number 11 Roseby Avenue. The roof ridge line is approximately 800 millimetres higher than the existing, but is set lower than that of the two neighbouring properties. Just move forward so that you can actually see sort of on the basis of what I'm rambling on about. 4 car parking spaces are proposed to the frontage. There are no tree works with tree protection measures planned to protect the existing back garden trees. 2 air source heat pumps are proposed to the side elevation adjacent to the neighbour's garage. Solar panels are also proposed on the crown section and side hitch element of the roof. The site is in the conservation area with both neighbouring properties locally listed. Landscaping and additional trees are proposed. Additional crossover is proposed. However, it appears that the existing dropped curb will be sufficient to service this new entrance. I say consider no objections, subject to the proposal not posing a detrimental impact on the neighbouring locally listed properties. It used to the neighbouring plan, and 70, 85 and 87 of the district plan refers. You can see here, this is the existing, and then the neighbouring properties either side are much more sort of substantial. So yeah, this here helps you to see the footprint of the proposed. So the larger bit that sort of juts out the back is all ground floor, and the 2-storey element is the block box.
Will the bit extending out, that won't impact next door, will it?
No, so the bits, the ground floor.
Yeah.
No, so you can see that they're drawn in the 45-degree visibility
Oh,
zone.
there, I
But
see,
actually,
yes.
that really only ever comes into play when you're talking
Secondary.
at first floor. So it's probably in a sense the best, much less distance really than existing.
Sorry.
So it's just becoming a detached house.
Detached house, yeah. So I don't know if you can sort of just about see there the proposed at the top.
A lot better, won't it?
It will be in keeping with the road actually. And it's smaller than the neighbouring properties anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the existence.
And it is one. What was that? Why was something not built? And that's what.
So it was built on the land of number 9.
Yeah, got it.
So number 9 to the left.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I do that,
999B.
number 9
Very good.
Yeah.
had all of that land.
Yeah.
It probably was built in
Oh.
the 60s or whenever. So yeah, number 9 had all of that land that it was sold off, and then these masonettes, these infill masonettes, which aren't in keeping at all
No.
with.
Yeah, you want to put it allowed, yeah. Good.
Okay. Any concerns?
No.
No, that's fine.
Thanks. 2023, 26. Criteria. And there's 523, 2387. We move on to 5/2023, 2361, which is 35 Minute Road.
Okay, so yeah, so it's this property here. This property is a locally listed building in the Harbour Link Conservation Area and is sited along Luton Road between Park Mount and Park Hill. The application is a resubmission following refusal by the LPA and dismissal by the planning inspectorate. It's an application with the same intentions as proposed in this application, which is removal of the picket fence and clearance of the front garden of soft and hard landscaping, with the addition of a new crossover to facilitate single vehicle parking on a turntable mechanism.
Yeah, it's a turntable.
The whole entrance to the site will be opened up to be 5.7 metres wide to assist in the visibility with a 2.4 metre visibility display from the property boundary to the edge of the carriageway. Details are given that all plants and or structures within the boundary property will be kept to a maximum height of 600 millimetres. No properties along this stretch of roadway between Park Granite and Park will have permitted parking on their frontages or dropped curbs. The new application does include some additional safety measures, namely the introduction of metal retention flaps to prevent vehicles from reversing from the turntable. They can only exit by rotating the turntable to enable vehicles to exit in a forward gear, and retractable bollards either side of the entrance to prevent larger vehicles such as delivery vehicles from accessing the turntable. It's also suggested that a planning condition is placed on the permission obligating that the turntable is maintained or replaced should it become inoperable. Despite these new measures added to the application, it appears that the concerns expressed over the refused application by this committee, SADC, Herts County Council and the planning inspector still remain. Recommend refusal. The committee do not deem that the reasons for refusal and concerns expressed by other authorities over the refused application have been sufficiently addressed to warrant approval.
And it was mainly refused because they were scared of it failing and then having to reverse them for busy road.
They did, yeah, partly that, and well, there's, yeah, I mean, and look at the history, yeah, you can look at the history. I mean, it's, if I move on to this here, there is a very clear, defined kind of frontage. This catches up. And the fact that nobody has been given permission to do such a thing, it would set precedent.
I mean, it's a very clever way of dealing with parking spaces on roads like this.
It is. There is a letter of support for number 93 Luton Road, which I guess is probably further in terms of the numbering, must be further down towards Park Mount. This is 85. So they say, as a nearby neighbour, I am fully aware of the safety and convenience struggles the applicant faces on a day-to-day basis regarding the horrendous parking situation in the immediate vicinity. This is down to people parking often illegally when they want to put it in a local Tesco. The applicants are rarely able to safely park near their property. The Tesco store was approved for planning with no foresight to the parking situation. It's been diabolical for 10 years since the store opened. The situation must change. Local residents are unable to park near their properties. The applicants of the proposal should have this proposal approved immediately, not just for their convenience, but more importantly, for the safety of their young family. There is no credible reason why this proposal should not be approved. So, I mean, on the basis of the reasons why it was refused, I can't see that there has been sufficient, in my view, sufficient reasoning to warrant that it would be.
So is there also the concern is that then, because they can then park in front of their house, then that will then set it up so that everybody else along there can park in front of their house?
Yes, I mean, in a sense, it would set precedent because it would be very difficult unless there was something very different than the situation here, like potentially somebody might have a flagpole, it is a flagpole, or a lamppost, or, a telephone column in the way. There would be very little grounds to prevent others along this stretch of road from being granted permission. Yeah, I mean, that isn't a reason why it was refused, but it potentially is something to consider. The means St Albans refused it is considered that the application fails to adequately demonstrate that the proposal would not be detrimental to the safe and free flow of highways users by reason of the site's location on the main distributor road. That was what their concern was.
Did highways turn it?
So highways were also, concerned.
So that's a definite no then end of, isn't it?
So
unless it's fully addressed the issues that they have, but what was their?
So highways, I actually, because I don't record exactly what county said, so I think it was in the appeal detail where they had their concerns.
What's the difference they put in? Is it these things on there?
It is, I think it seems to be. So
Something on the back.
it's for conservation area, so you're going to set precedents.
No, I mean, if they've reapplied after it being declined?
Oh, I see
What
what
have they?
difference.
Yeah, what have they made?
Yeah.
It's posted back to stop the car from reversing.
In reversing,
Yeah.
Strange things.
How big a car can you have on a turntable?
Depends on what your turntable is.
Relatively large, I think. So there is, I have got, oh, here's the appeal decision, here we go. So the reason why it was refused by the inspector, yes, so the main issue, it is considered that the main issue is the effect of the proposed development on the safety of other highway users. Proposed development includes a drop curb to enable access to an off-street parking space within the front garden. Should be. Road safety audit has been prepared by the appellant to support the appeal scheme, and the absence of a record of significant traffic accidents has been noted. However, the RSA refers to the combination of the high traffic flows along Luton Road and the number of nearby road junctions requiring significant driver attention for vehicle exiting the front garden of a property in forward gear. The RSA also raises concerns that if the proposed turntable was not used, then there may be a risk of increased collisions if a vehicle reversed out of the property's front garden. So that's why what they've tried to do is say, well, if we put these pop-up metal flaps, so once you drive on, the flaps pop up and then you cannot reverse back, you have no choice but to turn the turntable so that you can come out you have to exit in a forward gear. So that's what they've
Yes, that's their fix.
That's their, that's
That's
their-
question. Reversing out there, how different is it to reversing out on the corner of Piggott's Hill Lane, just where the little roundabout is?
So I think Piggott's Hill Lane is a B road and this is
It's almost a 90-degree bend.
This is.
I know someone that lived there and had 5 accidents reversing off their drive.
really, yeah.
But this is,
Whilst living there.
and this is
Yeah.
so busy.
It is busy, yeah.
It's a conservation area, and I think that's the precedent, isn't it?
But also the thing is, if they take down the picket and they move, even with or without a turntable, then the other houses, if we still convenience the other houses, you can't. It sets precedents, doesn't it? Yeah.
Because it says here, it's not disputed that the appellant would undertake the manoeuvring of the vehicle, the parked vehicle as envisaged by using the proposed turntable. Accordingly, the danger of the safety of other highway users would be limited as reported in the RSA. However, others will occupy the property at a later date. There can be no certainty that these future occupiers would be as diligent as the appellant in terms of either always using the proposed turntable for a vehicle to exit the parking space in forward here, or owning a vehicle which can be readily accommodated within the available space.
So that's the reason, please.
So what they've
danger-
done is they've basically said, well, actually, we'll put up some bollards
Yeah,
that potentially will prevent larger vehicles from being able to.
but they can even
So
get
then you can
taken
take
out.
them.
And it says further, it would be difficult to impose an enforceable planning condition on any successful appeal to ensure that the future occupants would continue to use
Yeah.
the turntable and the vehicle would
As
only
designed,
exit the
yeah.
parking space in a forward gear. Any condition would be difficult for the council to effectively monitor. Accordingly, it's concluded that the proposed development would cause unacceptable danger to the safety of other highway users. As such, it would conflict with policies 34 and 39 of the district plan.
Where did they park them?
So I
Around the
think
corner,
that they
around the
must
corner.
park, either
the
one
Tesco
Park
garage.
Mount or Park Hill, because Park Hill is hideous.
Because you've got Tesco there as well, plus loads of houses, it's.
I mean, the thing is that they've never been able to park outside.
No.
So they've always had to park. on the
I think their
sidewalk.
issue was that they said that they could park. Is it Park Hill who's got
Yeah.
Tesco's? So they could park on Park Hill probably, and then Tesco's came along and it's always, people just
Yeah.
leave their car on the corner and run in.
Yeah,
I appreciate their frustration.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they've written on, which is on the website. A support statement in respect of the proposed new crossover and parking to the existing front garden. They give the application of 85 Luton Road has a strong case for the following reasons, safety is central to this application.
They bought the house like that, didn't they?
Numerous houses already have drop curbs and driveways along Leaton Road. It will take pressure away from the very limited spaces for cars. in
Not there,
neighbouring
they don't
streets.
though.
No.
It will make it safer for the owners of 85 Luton Road. It will improve the security of the car itself. It won't set a precedent because many of the houses in close proximity already have off-street parking. But none of those ones on that road.
Unless they have access
Around the back.
from the back.
Yeah, some of them do. Electric cars, with the government policy moving towards cleaner, less polluting cars, surely it would be encouraging situation to enable residents to own electric cars. And finally, the last one is house value. The poor parking situation is significantly affecting the value of the property.
It's not funny reason. Just,
I'm curious about other houses having parking because
Well, we had one the other week, didn't we, which was.
Yeah, so here we go. So this is the back. So I think, so yeah, you're right. So this application.
Not look like when you've got.
So I think from what I can see here that some of the. I think some of the properties may have access around the back. It's like there's some garages. Just here, if you can see where my cursor's moving. So there's probably a couple of properties there that have got garages. And then on the other end, I think that there looks like, so there's the garage that we were looking at.
Yes,
the
on
other
the
day.
other end, on the
Yeah,
other
so
side.
accident park mount. And then behind that, it appears that there's a couple more garages, which probably do, or maybe 3 garages that do service those other houses. So sadly, this site probably doesn't actually have any off-street parking whatsoever.
But nobody has got parking on their front garden that they're asking.
Not on that stretch, no.
But probably,
And I'm really-
half of the properties have then maybe.
Sorry?
There's 10 on that mini stretch.
Yeah, I reckon probably half of them have got rear access.
Yeah.
But nobody's got it at the front, which is
No.
what they're asking for. And it does that Luton Road is vile, that bit. And you've got the school traffic as well.
Added danger.
And also if you have an additional building site.
Further up the road, yeah.
Further up the road. It's going to be a road that gets busier.
So it's really, the true question is do we feel that they have addressed the reasons why it was refused and dismissed it?
I think they've addressed some, but I don't think that was the main reason why it was refused. So I'd suggest not overall.
Yeah.
So are we happy with the wording that was suggested, that we don't feel that they have done sufficient
Not very fully
work
addressed.
to, yeah,
I don't think they can resolve it though.
No, I don't.
I'm sure that they can, no.
I'm not actually sure it's resolved.
Okay, so happy
All
with that
happy with
then,
that?
yeah?
All happy with that? Well, 2023 2389 and 2359. Does not meet criteria, so we'll move to 2023 2380, which is 2 Adcock Close, please, Heather.
Unit.
We'll do it.
That one, 2367, yeah, Carpenter's Close,
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was getting ahead of myself.
that's okay.
So we do want to do 2023 2367, please, Heather.
Okay, right, so planning permission was granted earlier in 2023 for a 2-storey rear extension. The raised patio was not part of this application. The patio has been constructed to 380 millimetres from the existing ground level. Permitted development allows for raised patios to no higher than 300 millimetres above the existing ground level. Therefore, planning permission is required due to being 80 millimetres outside the allowable parameter. Property sits side on to number 2 Carpenter's Close, but a 1.7 metre close board fence has been installed to prevent overlooking from both properties. So at this stage, I say consider objections subject to no loss of meter to number 2 Carpenter's Close. However, since then, today, 2 letters of objection have gone online. One of them from number 2 Carpenter's Close with some sort of strong wording, basically saying that actually their concerns raised with district force the planning enforcement on this to force them to seek planning permission. So they also include some rather interesting photographs that show that show the people being able to about that actually, people being able to view into number 2 Carpenter's Close garden. So
Quite high.
yeah, so
So that's the patio that they want.
But
planning
patio,
permission.
it's there, this is retrospective, it's already there, so they've got this raised patio, and obviously the concerns have been expressed by the resident of number 2 Carpenter's Close, which I moved to there, you can see is the property that looks like they had a swimming pool, probably don't anymore, have got concerns of the overlooking into their garden. This closed board fence has been erected, but they still feel that it's not right.
Maybe we should plant some trees or a bush.
So I'll circulate round, probably should have done some further copies to help you see.
So I'm a bit confused. Is that one there then? Number 1? Is that picture of
This,
number 1?
so number 1, that's number 1, yeah,
Yeah.
with their raised patio.
Yeah.
And then the picture to the right is what they have basically put in there to mitigate against any overlooking.
Okay,
But number 1 sits at like a right angle to number 2.
right.
So number 2 is the property to the left, it's got the back garden
With
side
the
on.
possible swimming pool.
Yeah, with what looks like they had a swimming pool, but I don't.
So
think they have it.
effectively, 1 Carpenter's Close is at the end of their garden.
Yeah. So well, it always will have been, but yeah. So isn't it coming down to 8 centimetres?
So it is, but so I'll read what it says here. So, it's worth noting that the raised patio was erected in July 2023 and it's over 1.2 metres above the ground level. This is well over the permitted 30 centimetres. I'm not quite sure where they got that reference from. It's worth noting that this is also compounded by the fact that the applicant's property sits higher than our property by 3 metres. Given the height differential, there are even grounds for 30 centimetre patio height to be questioned. Similarly, it's worth noting that plans are incorrect for 2 reasons, so that's by. Screens are not permitted to be 1.8 metres above ground level, and the current temporary screen now sits over 3 metres high. I also understand that screens are not legally enforceable, and there is no guarantee that there will be no issues in the future with the applicants or any subsequent owners of the property. This retrospective application was only submitted following concerns I raised with the planning enforcement in October. Since its erection in July 2023, it has resulted in a total loss of privacy whereby anybody either is standing against the fence separating our properties or even at the far end of the applicant's patio can have a full view of our garden, our internal private living spaces of the rear kitchen, dining room and the living room. It's also intrusive that so that anyone standing can look right through the length of the living room right up to the front of the house. Attached photos of the builders and all the residents of 1 Carpenter's Close overlooking our garden into our personal space. So I'll circulate this round, and I believe these pictures were taken before the screen has gone in place. But yeah, literally you see the whole height of a person
So is that that bloke standing in?
standing on the patio. So these pictures were taken before this screen that they've now
The
put
new-
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, anybody can come along and go, I don't want that screen. I want to take it down. I must admit, if I'd taken that photograph, I'd have put my washing away.
Before, I think.
We'll see what it comes through.
Maybe they took the picture quickly while the person was still there.
Yeah, it's very sorry.
When people take photographs, not whereas there's a mirror, you can see.
So why is the patio, why have they done the patio so high?
I guess they have to have steps coming down from the back of the house.
Yeah, I think because of there's a difference in the ground level, which
So it's given them a flat lawn.
Oh, they're blacked out the moment.
yeah, as you can see, so ultimately, before that screening went in, that closed wall.
But it isn't the
It was the height of the body, the torso and up could be seen,
Mm.
but
But is that sufficient that they've now put the screening?
so in theory, yes, but the objector there is saying that the
You could
height
take
of
it
that
down.
screen isn't right. But
Okay.
I've seen planning applications where screens have gone in on rear balconies to create a screening alongside, and that's at first floor level.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that that's absolutely accurate, what they're saying, but I can't say that it isn't.
I mean,
Because I don't know the
it's
laws.
also, the thing is, if you're upstairs and you look out, you can see straight in anyway.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, the screens don't go all the way across all the floors, do they?
No,
No,
Do you know what I mean?
But if you're upstairs, you can always see into next door's garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but that's what,
That's the joy of suburbia.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's reasonable for them not to have, somebody sitting on the patio, being able to look into their garden.
Because in theory, you'd want the applicant probably would want to have the screening for their own privacy as much as the neighbour.
You are kind of putting yourself on a stage, really, aren't you? What's so can you go through the numbers with me again? So what's
Yes.
the permitted amount that they wouldn't have had to apply for?
So permitted, they can have up to 300 millimetres.
Yeah.
So the patio has been constructed to 380. Permitted development, so basically
It's 8
done it,
centimetres.
so it's 8 centimetres.
So they could take one brick off.
And they wouldn't need to seek
And they
planning
wouldn't need to
permission,
seek
they
planning
would have, but the thing is, what's probably happened is that building control have come out.
Yeah.
Or the enforcer, the officer has come out,
And
looked
those
at
said,
the drawings as to what they've got planning permission for, and said, well, hang on a minute, this is outside of
yeah, yeah.
what you're allowed to do. Which has then meant that this planning application has been submitted.
So, but if they dropped it down by one brick,
They wouldn't need to seek planning permission
that'd
at
be
all,
fine.
but they're
So-
probably looking to see if that they can get planning permission for what they've already built.
Yeah, I
If
understand.
they don't,
I understand.
if they get
From a
refused,
neighbour's perspective, it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, doesn't it? Yeah.
But the,
It's not a massive difference.
the height of that house
It's higher, yeah.
is higher because of the line of the land.
I get that, yeah.
So would that impact on what they would be entitled to do,
It shouldn't do.
no, I don't think so.
regardless of the height of the land?
No, because if permitted development says that you can do a raised patio up to 300 mil,
You can do a
you can do it whether or not you're 10 metres higher or not.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know,
say, you know,
there's
3
no
foot minus sea level or
stipulation,
anything.
no. It's a blanket ruling.
So the way you could change it is to do steps down, because obviously it's constructed, the bifold doors, is to actually have a step down.
Onto it and lower it.
Yeah, and lower it.
They could just lower it at the bit nearest the house.
Yeah, you still have to go down now.
I think the whole of it would have to drop because
Yeah,
there'd
have to
there'd
drop.
still be that overlooking. But in theory,
8
this
centimetres.
close board fence is there. You know, the picture on the right is there. So
God. Oh, see. But they're watching away. It's at the end of the garden though. I mean, even half a metre down, you'd still see people's heads. So even when they're in the garden, you'd still see their heads.
because of this, the ground, if
Because the fence isn't that high on the other side. So, yeah, because the ground difference. I just plant loads of big trees.
Yeah.
I'd want to do that anyway, irrespective of their patio, but that's. That is, you're right, you know, it's, when you're backing on someone's garden, it is.
Did you say there's another objection as well?
yes, there is, but so therefore number 6, are much less detailed. So it says, moreover, we take the serious view that if permitted to remain as it is, it will not only be obtrusive but severely restrict our privacy. In view of the height differential between our properties, it was never given any agreement in the original application. Therefore, the case officer should revisit the site and further advise on the way forward. But also draw your attention to continued Saturday exterior working after 1 p.m. I mean, and they live at number 6, Carpenter's Close, so they must be much further down.
What usually happens in situations like this? Is there compromise tried to the council trying to find compromise between parties or?
As it stands at the moment, they will be looking at the planning application as a planning application. So really, in terms of any mediation, that needs to come between the applicant and the objectors.
So planning could say you need to lower it by X centimetres.
So what they would do is if they say, you know, you don't like it like this, they'll refuse it
Yeah,
and basically say it's too high. They won't go into the detail, and this is where it's quite difficult, as I think I said at the last meetings, that they'll, like for that, the man that was here last time, you know, he said it was refused, but we don't know you know, they just, it was too big, but they didn't go into details of how we could
Yeah.
address that. So do I need to drop it by
Things that we-
metre or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
So they would, all they'll do is they just say, refuse, it's, you know, creates, yeah,
But then
detrimental
would they be
impact.
expected to take it down?
Yes, so if it was refused, they would have to remove it. They would have to remove.
Or
yes,
they're going for more planning permission for something
For
else?
lower.
Yeah, so if they dropped it, they wouldn't have to get planning permission. because
Yeah,
They would be
yeah,
within the
yeah.
permitted.
So you go
development,
to
so-
planning consultant and figure that out?
Yeah.
Or I just offer to buy everyone on that road lots of trees.
Well, I suppose what you'd do is you'd say, well, look, it's going to cost me so much to reduce it by 1 brick. So what about if we offer you,
Contributions or some trees or whatever.
but slightly less than what it's going to cost to reduce it? I mean, but anyway.
So
So the house itself,
hassle, though, isn't
the
it?
house itself is within the planning that it was allowed?
Yes,
Because the house itself is, at the end of their garden, does seem quite.
yes, so planning, they got planning
They've
permission.
got planning permission, the house isn't too high or too anything, it's just the patio.
It's purely the patio.
Because
I
it lets
think
the
probably
people
what
off the
happened was that
garden.
the patio was probably formed part of the original planning application. They come to build it and it's ended up being a bit high.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
In terms of enforcement, because I thought it was a bit of an issue trying to get enforcement.
So enforcement had visited,
That enforcement have visited. So,
enforcement have visited, which was then prompted this planning application.
but the fact that enforcement have gone out and have been proactive in this
Yeah.
case, is that an indication in any way of their view of it? Other than
No.
the fact that it reaches.
No, so planning enforcement will visit if they feel that there is a case to be had.
Okay.
So clearly in this case, probably these pictures have been submitted to planning enforcement to say, look, what we're faced with.
Mm.
Planning enforcement have come out to check that the application has been built as permission was given. And obviously in the measurements, they found that it's 80 millimetres too high, which has prompted the need for planning application to be submitted.
Okay.
So could we express the cause of concern in terms of the sort of loss of amenity to the next, well, I'm not saying do it because I'm just throwing it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Loss of amenity to next door, and then obviously that can then be addressed.
Yeah,
Can't it?
I think that's good.
Because I mean, my sort of consideration here was on the basis of I hadn't seen any objections.
Yes,
I went
yes.
online today to
Yeah.
find that there have been 2 submitted in the last couple of days. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, they're raising, the people, they've raised a concern about it, and I think it's reasonable that they have their concerns.
Yes, and the bottom line is, it is 8 centimetres too high, but so it does break the rules, doesn't it? And obviously there are 2 complaints, you could just buy 3 tons of earth and raise the ground level of their garden. So, okay,
I mean,
So-
quick we get those.
So we're going for, what are we going for?
I like what Eileen said, I think
Yeah.
it's sensible and balanced.
It's a strange one, even even if they reduce it.
Marginal.
The neighbours aren't going to be happy anyway, are they? That's it.
It's
Makes no
compromise.
difference.
No,
But by the letter of the law, I think
Yeah,
that's
right.
we do.
That is, planning is there for a reason.
Agree.
Okay, so I've commented on those other 2, which are here. So we will move to 5, 2023, 2080, which is 2 electrical cars.
Okay, fundamentally, it proposes differs little from the approved application. There appears to be minor amendments to the internal layout and the addition of extra Velux windows, but nothing that dramatically changes the approved proposal. Not conservation area considered an objection. Where is that? I think it's West Common. Very pretty, I think it tells me. Yeah, it's a road full of rather sort of nicely placed detached bungalows.
Nice frontage.
Big sweeping long drives and it's still staying as a.
Oh, no,
bungalow
it's,
as well, which is nice.
It's off the Way Hampstead Road,
Oh, right, okay.
but no, it's lovely, I think it's very pretty.
You got any problems with that?
No,
No,
No.
Agreed.
All happy with that?
Thanks.
So what do I think about tree works? Councillor Fanning, applications, they didn't work. Fanning application.
We're on the subject of trees. Do you know anything about the rules and stuff from when you can cut trees and stuff?
No, sadly not, I'm afraid.
So what, on whether you can cut a neighbour's tree down?
No,
Or whether
no,
branches
your
have-
own tree. We've got two each tree. You know, the other they need to be pruned back. Just
Right.
Have they got
don't know what time of year to.
Well, in terms of research here,
Yeah.
or you could just drop either Tim or Alex an email. They would be able to tell you they are, no, that they're oracles of information. So, yeah, either Tim or Alex would be able to answer your question. Probably Tim, actually, Tim's probably the more specialist in trees.
Okay, so we finished.
Yes, finished. Okay, so 8/11. The next meeting is next year, January. What date again is it? It's the 9th, Tuesday, the 9th of January.
Is it in the calendar?
Yeah.
Is it last the full year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't.
Everybody have a lovely Christmas.
Yeah, happy Christmas,